We're on.
We on. Back at it. All right, well, I'm O, the futuristic baby boomer.
Lively here, progressive millennial.
And we back at it again.
We are back at it.
So, we started talking a little bit today about AI. And it's kind of interesting because you have a unique take on that, but I guess you wanted to lay some background, right?
I'm AI, bitch.
Yeah, AI,
you
bitch.
just human. Yeah, man. No, I was talking about because for me, just being a tech enthusiast, I'm just like concentrated in the space and I'm seeing what's happening all the time. And I'm going, the fuck, like, this is unreal. But I've been like that with everything. Bitcoin, I've been like that. And with my friends, they're like, fuck Bitcoin. And it's taking a long time, but it's still progressively increasing. And if you're paying attention to it, you see it's inevitable, right? But other people are just like, what is that thing again? Still, right? And it's the same with AI has been a new craze. And so I'm looking at all of what's happening in the space. I'm going, holy crap. And then everybody else is like, yeah, AI, ChatGPT is cute, right? But I was thinking about this analogy. Like, if you think about it, to really kind of understand or grasp what's happening with AI is, if you think about the average IQ, what would you think the average IQ is of not so intelligent human being? Let's put it that way. Or moron.
See, I don't know. I mean, I
around 60, right? Around
okay.
60, 65.
All right, we'll take your word for it.
Einstein, his IQ was around 160, 68.
I take your word for it.
Right?
Okay.
I looked it up.
Okay, check you on facts.
Yeah, you can check me on facts. So, and the difference between, you wouldn't check me on facts. When I was telling you, was fascinating as I was telling you off air. You're like, oh, really? Now you're like, check your own facts.
No, because you say you looked it up. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just,
Yeah, but anyway, the difference between that non-intelligent person who really can't really solve mathematical equations, do much, versus Einstein, who's been able to...
A genius,
right? And we're pretty much living off of the foundation of his work, right?
And other geniuses.
But him being one of them. But that's the difference between a 60 IQ versus 100 and 60. And if you can imagine, you tend for that, imagine artificial intelligence, right? And so, like, when I forgot what I said something else to you earlier, and
well, you were talking about how AI is kind of like our pets, right?
Well, yeah, in the sense, right? It's because I was hyped, but imagine. So we're creating AI, we're developing AI, and so it seemed like we're in control, we got a handle on it, but in the sense, like, it doesn't have really. It's still like baby AI, right? Just like a baby, it still has its training wheels on, but. I was saying the analogy to imagine having a pet dog, but it's like 1,000 times smarter than you are, right? That'd be different. Yeah. That'd be what we call alien-like technology,
right?
So if you look at the scale of things, like if we're comparing intelligence in that way, just imagine 5 to 10 years, like what AI is going to be able to do, and like if everything stopped as it is, if we just have the level of ChatGPT intelligence, if that's the thing, or AI capability, let's just say, if we just stop here and not do anything else, still the level of change that was going to happen within 5, 10, and 20 years is so massive. It's going to be more than that of like World War II or I up until modern day, right? So that's like massive change we're talking about.
So you mentioned before that AI is potentially more devastating than climate change.
And that's why I think that AI is more detrimental to us than climate change. I think it's the biggest threat, not climate change. I mean, I support
AI is going to destroy humanity.
I don't think it is. I think it has a potential. Again, technology or intelligence isn't inherently bad, but it is coupled with Again, that's why the guardrails are important. The beginning phases are important. It takes the people who are behind the coding process that are creating these prompts. Sam Altman, how the training these models is going to determine whether it becomes net good or net bad.
Well, you say how they're training these models, but if these models continue to get intelligent, they continue to get smarter and smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
At some point, right? It's like, like iRobot, right? I mean, like it becomes sentient, right?
Right. Yeah. They can train themselves, right? Like I think the early stages, computers were really dumb, right? They had the IQ level of, let's just say 1. You have the human interface had to develop all these programs and like guide them on what to do, and it took a longer step process, right? So like if you're working on investment banks, or like for instance like this very specific industry, but like if you're a coder and you're coding for investment banks and law firms, it takes like hundreds of thousands of code to create everything needed to operate for all of the systems to be in place if you're a coder in that. So you understand the process with that. What it takes to create ChatGPT is like 40,000 code or something, some short of that number. That's like a significant difference. So now because it's like you are basically getting to the point where you're speaking to the computer to then have the computer replicate or learn on its own. It's a different way of doing things now, right? Okay. So like the analogy is like nuclear bombs. You can't create nuclear bombs and have nuclear bombs create its own cells. But like with intelligence, they can create themselves.
So AI can create its own
AI can create another AI, and improve on that. And if you think about it, it's like I was asking you earlier, like, what do you think is there any cap on intelligence?
Is there any cap on it? No, probably not. I mean,
no.
Yeah, I mean, you can become, from an intelligence standpoint, it's probably, I guess limitless, right?
It's limitless. So you think about it. If you have, like, all we do as human beings is evolve. We make better things. Like, we don't have to make AI. Oh, if we just cut down the rails, we say, shut down the system, let's go kumbaya in the woods. Life as is right now will still be good. We don't need to innovate. We don't need to create more things. We just get bored. So we invent better things. That's been in our DNA. We're inventing the first frontier that is actually, for the first time, more intelligent than us.
Okay, and you use AI.
I use it.
You use AI all the time, right?
Right, I do. I do. In the last podcast, it's funny because one of the clips, I was talking about ChatGPT and how it's going to change education. And he was like, am I really learning shit from ChatGPT? He's like, I mean, I can put in some prompts in and it can spit out some information and I edit it. But am I learning something? No. Right. I mean, that's a different way of interacting with AI, obviously, you know what I mean? Tesla is currently creating humanoids. Boston Dynamics. So once AI intelligence is coupled with that, it's going to be a whole different frontier. Also, quantum computing is in development.
Right.
Once quantum computing is there, you can't transfer our intelligence or anything right now, but you can do that with AI. So you can take AI from one system, the computer as we know it, and transfer AI to a quantum computing system as it gets smarter.
Right.
So right now, I mean, it takes a lot. So quantum computing is like few and far. MIT has, Google, there are a few companies.
In the early stages, and it's probably at least 20, 30, 40 years off.
Yeah, right. So, but it's just a matter of tweaking, and the technology doesn't need to be evolved anymore with quantum computing. Everything is figured out. It's just time and replication and trying to figure out how to just get the system working as it needs to be. There are things still, like it has to be in a 0 degree cooling, some weird shit. The air has to be cool as hell. The computational chip is such a powerful, and obviously it operates not just zeros and ones, but it could be 0 or 1 within 0, 0 or 1 within 1. So that's what quantum computing is like. Anyway, it can be both at one time. Each binary code can be both at once. It can operate in both spaces at once. Anyway, so the shit is, so imagine AI on that space, right? And the shit that's about to happen.
So AI has the potential to end humanity, right? I mean, it has the potential to end humanity.
Yeah. It has the potential, for sure. Right.
And you say it's a bigger threat to us than climate change.
It is.
But yet and still, you are an avid AI consumer and user.
I do. I am. Because, I don't think intelligence inherently is bad. I think people are bad. I'm hopeful about how the laws we have in place all of the checks and balances we have can steer in the right direction that is not good. But I don't know that for sure, because the thing about most of the technology we've ever created, it's been created on a corporate incentive. Not corporate, but what's a capitalistic incentive, where they're creating it to compete, right? They need to sell ad on it, all these different things, right? So these companies are always at an arms race to who's going to get there first. The difference is AI isn't like those other technologies. AI isn't intelligent, and you can't treat it as if it's an arms race. You can't have Google and Microsoft and Apple competing to make the best AI. We need to worry about how safely can we employ this AI first, and we're not doing that. And we're making it open system, and we're putting it out there. So where a kid in this room in 5 years will be able to just need a computer, and they can create their own AI and put them online, open source. That's what we're dealing with.
Okay, but hold on. So, sadly, the Kansas City Chiefs, right, just had this parade yesterday for the Super Bowl.
I didn't watch that game at all, but I saw the highlights.
I understand.
Yeah.
And somebody started shooting.
Yeah, after the game.
And kids got injured, and one person died, and people were seriously injured. So, somebody decided to start shooting in that event. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying, right? Some kid, 5-10 years from now, in his bedroom, can deploy AI to compromise the satellite systems that the nuclear warheads and things of that nature.
Maybe not a kid. I mean, I'm
just trying to be clear about how big the threat is.
Sure. So maybe not a kid, and maybe not in 5-10 years. Within 10 years-ish time frame, someone who has software engineer background, someone who's probably a coder, have access to be able to purchase themselves a Mac, and they will have the open source system to be able to use their computational power, because it doesn't take a lot of code anymore and big spaces and servers to make this happen. You can do that in the confines of your own home. I'm saying hackers, people who, are out there that are bad or want to do bad, steal credit card information, whatever, they can create their own AI for bad.
They create AI to steal your credit card shit and all that.
Yeah, they can do that too, correct.
Right.
So in the near term, there's going to be a lot of fraud. There's going to be a lot of AI fraud.
There's already a rack of fraud.
Right. There's going to be a lot of AI. You've seen the craze, self-impersonation coming out, people using AI, rappers' voices.
Already seeing it.
You have social media accounts with fake AI bots or generated images that are making $100,000, $100K monthly on their Instagram, directing you to their OnlyFans page. People are paying for fake generative AI content. Well, and they'll have more following than the real users.
Not to go off on a Bitcoin tangent, but Michael Saylor, who is the president and CEO of MicroStrategy, that was one of the first companies to buy Bitcoin and put it on their balance sheet. Mm-hmm. They now have AI generated bots of Michael Saylor telling people to take your Bitcoin, send it to this address, and then once we get it here, we'll send you back to Bitcoin.
Okay.
And it's Michael Saylor, looks like him,
damn,
sounds like him,
damn,
telling you to send it in, and it's nothing but a scam.
Yeah, man. And in the near future, in 5 to 10 years, that's what's going to happen.
Well, in 5 to 10 years, it's probably going to be better, because if you look real closer, you can kind of tell it's kind of a little glitchy.
It's going to be even better. Right. So imagine, again, you think it's a family member calling you, asking for personal information. Auntie or grandma have that sob in her voice that you recognize and so familiar with. She said, grandson, I'm struggling. My rent wasn't paid this month. Would you do me a favor and send me a couple of dollars, maybe a couple of $1,000, depending on your income level and what grandma is, I mean, it's gonna get bad in the near future. So am I pro AI or not? Again, I'm unbiased. I think it is what it is. It's going to happen. I'm not in control.
So you're
of it.
AI neutral.
I'm neutral, and I hope for the best, and I look for signs.
But you use it every day.
I do use it every day.
So it sounds like you're pro AI.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited about AI for the most part. 100%. I'm excited about AI, but I just understand. I also am aware of, the potential of AI being dangerous for society, and it's the potential ending of humanity as we know it. I believe that.
You believe that it could end humanity?
100%, of course. It's a no-brainer. It could.
So it's a dice roll. You're like in Vegas. You're rolling the dice. It could, but it might not.
It doesn't have to be. Not yet. We still have the opportunity to rear some. We have an opportunity to stop in our tracks to where it's because it's not.
You're not stopping. Who's stopping? Nobody's stopping.
We can't, right? But that's what we call the prisoner's dilemma, right? You have two people and you're giving them a mixture of set information and telling them, hey, if you tell on your partner or the person, your friend, you'll get off or you get less sentence. But if you don't tell and your friend tells on you and realizes you, I think if you're guilty, you get almost twice the amount of sentence. But if what's the word? But and then tell the same thing to the other person, saying if you don't tell, same thing happens to you. You get almost twice the amount of sentence. If you do tell, you get less than half of the sentence. And then they tell each other. Oh, do you know the person's dilemma?
No, I'm confused as shit.
Okay,
right
yeah.
now.
This is theory. Like if two kids or anyone, not kids, but two people got caught committing a crime, they get interrogated. The prisoner's dilemma. They run through a series of questions to interrogate them to get them to tell the truth or to fess up. So they'll tell one person. If you tell on the other person, you get half the sentence. Let me break it down more. If you don't say anything and the other person, if the other person tells on you, and we find out you're guilty, you get almost twice the amount of sentence. Right, and then they tell the other person.
That's what police do all the time.
Right, that's the prisoner's dilemma. That's what I'm talking about. So
it ain't really a dilemma. I mean, it ain't really a dilemma. That's how they get motherfuckers to turn on each other.
Right, but the dilemma is that you're putting them in a situation to where they'll have to rely on trust, and if there's lack of trust, the other person was most likely telling their friend. Well, and that's how we operate as a society, and that's why AI is going to continue to evolve and develop because the prisoner's dilemma. Everybody's going to be like,
well, how much can you trust a criminal? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? If, two people get popped for a crime, the criminals, right?
Right.
So you go to one and say, all right, if you go ahead and tell us the information, we'll cut your time in half, and we're going to roll on your boy. Mm-hmm. Right? But if you don't, and your boy rolls on you, you get twice the time.
Right.
He's going to get off. And so it comes down how much you trust. But you're trusting a criminal.
Right. But I always wonder, if you're both criminals, but you're friends too, why can't y'all establish that in the beginning? If you guys are going to be criminals together, because you can be criminals but still have a bond. Like, what the fuck? You can't, like, you haven't seen enough videos to go, yo, bro, this key happening to us, man. Look, let's promise each other.
Yo, okay.
If we get caught up, we are not telling on each other. And let's hold true to that. Yeah. You gotta have some kind of bond with someone you're stealing with and looting with, because at any point in time, life can end from you. You sometimes have guns. You went up on the wrong person. If you're living that lifestyle, bond is like word is bond. So why can't they have that talk and go, hey, bro, like, I know we're willing to die together and shit. We might get busted and go to jail together. Can we at least agree that if we get busted, I won't tell on you, you won't tell on me?
So you want criminals to have integrity?
To each other, yes. Yes.
All right.
Because criminals can have integrity. People can have integrity to each other and still be bad to the world together.
Okay.
Bonnie and Clyde, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
They had each other back, but it was fuck the world.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's going to be in AI, right? AI is going to have that shit.
No, that's going to be the challenge in human relationship with each other, and that'll be the reason why AI doesn't stop. Because no one wants to put down a nuclear weapon because they don't trust each other. No one's going to want to stop AI because if America said, I'm not going to do this because I think this is going to be really dangerous, China's going to be like, all right, good luck, bro. Like,
well,
we're going to
China's
continue.
developing AI.
Exactly.
The U.S. is developing AI.
Exactly.
Russia's developing AI, right?
Of course.
So
Google, Microsoft, Intel. I mean, these companies also and they're all developing their own systems of AI. It's an arms race, and that's the danger.
Well,
so
see, for me, AI has no compassion, right? It's just pure intellect, no compassion. It does a calculation and says, based upon my calculations, it makes more sense to destroy this country than it does to let it survive because it could be an aggressor down the road. There's a 98% probability this country is going to be an aggressor if it continues to develop its systems in 5 years. So my calculation says let's take it out right now.
Well, that's given the fact that, I mean, there are AI agents that are being developed. So the guys who are at the frontier of AI, and if I can remember this correctly, like there has a set of rules. One, don't open source AI. Two, don't create many agents of AI, meaning AI telling AI what to do and completing the task, like having action. So as opposed to just a prompt, you input output, you have this agent that you input and distributes tasks that it can run automatically to other AI and it can continue that. And three, what was the third? I forget the third. But the early developers of AI knew the potential risk, and they're like, unless we figure out how to manage this thing, have rules and regulations around them, understand more than what we know now, we shouldn't do these things.
Didn't
ChatGPT did that shit.
Didn't Elon Musk just recently say AI should be shut down and put a hiatus to stop it?
He did amongst others. They put a 6 months hold on AI.
But nobody did it, right?
I mean, this doesn't work. It wasn't effective at all. And it's not really. The journey continues. Sam Altman is freaking Y Combinator guy who is just bullish on 10x in everything that he does. He recently came up with a statement that said that the things that they need to do with AI, because it needs a lot of information, a lot of computational power, a lot of chips, a lot of Envision chips to make this thing run. I mean, not Envision, NVIDIA. He's like, the total budget is going to look like $7 trillion.
Yeah,
I mean, he's talking about
$7 trillion, and they're getting that, right?
Dude, what business, what CEO have you ever heard? That's economy changing money. $7 trillion? How realistic is that? That's China economy entire, that's US entire economy, like $7 trillion?
Yeah, I don't think that's entire economy. But okay.
But a huge chunk, to the point where one company are talking about raising $7 trillion.
That's a lot of money. No
It's a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? But Sam Altman has always been a 10x guy. He's like, if you think something this is your goal, add a zero to it. That's been his thing. And he's been unbelievable at it, to the point where he's so powerful in the industry that people are willing to entertain the fact that he's going to raise $7 trillion in order to get enough chips to train AI. But anyway, that's what's happening in the space.
So here's what I'm interested in. Because I read an article that said that people are getting AI boyfriends and AI girlfriends. Now that's some crazy shit to me.
That's right. And well, yeah, I mean, have you seen the movie Her?
No.
Yeah, it's by Joaquin Phoenix. One of my favorite. When I was growing up, Coming to America was my favorite movie.
I can see that.
Yeah, I feel like I was Prince Hakeem, like.
Oh, you thought you were Prince Hakeem?
Yeah, I mean, my grandmother ran for vice president, so I came from Liberia to America. So I feel like, you know, I was royalty, and I fell in love with Lisa, my girlfriend from middle school, and I'm married. And yeah, so I felt like, I was like, you know, I'm coming to America to find my queen, and my queen is Lisa. And I used to quote the line, "I've got a date with Lisa. Isn't that wonderful?" From the movie.
Oh,
I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
her name was Lisa, right?
Yeah, her name was Lisa.
Oh,
right.
yeah, you were Joaquin or Hakeem or whatever.
Prince
his name
Hakeem.
was. Yeah, well, you were Eddie Murphy. Fuck it.
Exactly. I used to feel that. I used to really believe that. But what was I saying? What was I saying?
That's funny. Who?
If you really love me, bark like a dog.
Who was Arsenio Hall? Was that Hans? Who's that? Who played? Oh, that's some funny shit.
No one played Arsenio. I was only Eddie Murphy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right.
That's a setup.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my gosh. None of my friends played Arsenio Hall. It was, this version of Coming to America was just me. Oh shit. But anyway, what was I saying though?
Well, what I was saying was that they got cats out here now that are getting AI girlfriends,
Right.
and AI boyfriends. Okay, so when I first saw this, right, I knew this had to be some bullshit, right? But it's real. And so, you know, coming from the generational standpoint, you know, as the last boomer in the door, right? The concept of a AI girlfriend is some whack ass shit to me. Okay?
I know that's probably far.
I mean, that's
you
nuts.
I mean, would you even say, like, did you come in terms with dating apps, or like did you come full circle? Could you see yourself on dating apps?
Yeah, so here's my experience on dating apps.
Because I'm trying to make the jump from person dating apps now AI girlfriend. You're like,
here's my experience on dating apps.
Okay, hold, wait. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I guess there we go. I just want to make sure this is a 3.
Are we off?
We're back on.
We're back on?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
My experience on dating apps, when I have a free weekend when I wasn't doing shit, I go on a dating app and I set up a profile. Right. There was one site,
Tinder, Hinge, Bumble.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do Tinder. I wasn't doing that shit back then. It was
Match.com. So you're more the OkCupid, Match.com.
Yeah, OkCupid. Those, you know.
There was eHarmony. That was only a website.
That was the one. eHarmony. That shit was nuts, man. You had to. I started doing that shit. That shit. I had never finished the profile.
So
on that shit.
wait. So your last dating experience or experience in the app was first web based, and it was eHarmony.
No, I never finished that profile because it took
Too
too fucking long. But I did a match. I think I did. You know, Plenty of Fish.
You did Plenty of Fish,
right?
OkCupid, right? Yeah, I did OkCupid.
So I did a profile, right?
Yeah.
When I would have a weekend off. Now normally I don't have a weekend off, right? It might be Memorial Weekend, or maybe it was and it had to be during a period of time when I wasn't seeing somebody and involved, right?
Got it.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I'll go ahead and do this, right?
Right.
So I maybe have done that maybe 1 or 2 times in life, right?
Okay. Right.
Hold on. But once I did it, then I get back into life, right?
Right.
Next week I'm working. Next weekend I'm out. So I never come back to check the account, right? Until the next holiday. So let's say I did it Memorial Weekend, right? Memorial Weekend, I set up an account.
Yeah.
I come back, okay, 4th of July weekend when I was off, right? And look at it, and all these messages, like hundreds of messages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck that shit. That's too
and
much.
you close it back up.
I close it back up.
So that's been your online dating experience.
I've never gone on an online date.
That's hilarious.
Never, ever. It's like, it's hundreds of honeys up in this motherfucker. and all old.
Okay. Let me, because I wanted to pin where we were going. So, because I want to differentiate. We were talking about AI girlfriend. I want to differentiate the evolution of dating in the virtual space, highlight your experience and where you stopped in that process to be able to understand the full skill. So I did OkCupid, but Match.com, eHarmony, I mean, they had TV commercials for those dating apps, and they were web-based. That was it. There was no mobile application for it. And the process was so long. They really wanted you to find your wife.
Oh, no
and
question.
So it phased
and
into...
I got 3 of my boys that found.
Yeah.
They were pissed off.
Pissed off, right.
I told you this before.
That was an intense experience, right? And so that sort of like shifted more so in the boomer category of dating. And on the tail end of it was OkCupid, which what I also have experienced too. And then you move forward to mobile dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. Those apps, less information required. Swipe left, right, location proximity, easily connected.
Those are fucking
to
apps.
meet someone. It was like Tinder came out when I was in Towson University.
Oh, I remember.
And I was like one of 400
you.
people to ever use the app. I was telling my friends, like, dude, guys, just get on the app and download it so I can see how it works, since I really like coding and all that shit. And I was always the first to get the latest app. That's when app announcements were big, or you can find a way to...
You've always been an early adopter.
Yeah, but now there's so many apps that are out. No one has time to keep track of what the fuck new app is out. But back then, I was able to quantify them at least and figure out how the algorithm and how does this even work? You know what I mean? With geofencing location, cool features and stuff.
Creatively, you curated the perfect... You curated the shit out of your shit.
So I was on Tinder when I was meeting chicks, and they were like, I'm just on this app because my friend told me to come. Embarrassed. And I'm just like, next. Like, listen, you got to have confidence. You have to know that you can date and find people in person, and you just happen to be online because you're not in Towson. I mean, you're in Towson, not Baltimore, or you want to date someone in Maryland. It's just, it's a way to be able to experience people in different places that you otherwise would have never been able to meet them.
I remember us going to a workshop in New York.
Yeah.
You you're looking at your app on Tinder and like...
don't throw me under the bus. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'm trying. I want to hear it. Go ahead.
Looking at your app on Tinder like, boom, I was like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm getting ready to meet somebody.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I experienced...
Boston. Yeah, I get ready to go somewhere. I'm like... That's nuts.
Right. It's crazy how that works. So that's phase. And then the next phase now, we're talking about AI girlfriends. So I was trying to figure out, between the web interface to the mobile app interface to now AI girlfriend. Already a massive leap, because from web to mobile, still you're dealing with human beings, at least, right? AI girlfriend is a whole different interface and different relationship. Real. It's not real. And I've been questioning recently, what is real, man? I've been questioning harder. I've been questioning.
So let me just tell you, okay? Make it easy for you. So, the dating apps, which I never, ever got any traction on that shit. Mm-hmm. At least you were trying to connect with a live person.
Correct.
That you could kick it with, get to know, and see where it went, right?
Right.
Tinder, which is a period of time where I'm actually glad I'm glad I missed that shit.
You would have been with the buzzes though, right?
I'd have been dead. Go back and listen to, Then versus Now. Everybody listening, go back and listen to Then versus Now on Apple, Spotify, and you'll see why I said I would die if I was on Tinder. But that was connecting with real people.
Correct.
Right? To have real sex. Mm-hmm. Right? This AI shit's crazy. Because you got an AI. It's not real. There's no human touch. There's no interaction. It's some AI generated shit. It's not real. What the fuck is that? And who's doing that? And it's got to be, now here comes the generational shit, right? Mm-hmm. Because and this is going to sound horrible, and I don't want it to, but I can imagine somebody in the Gen Z cohort, or maybe even Gen Alpha, that has spent much of their life online, built a Instagram profile online, curated their best life. In reality, that ain't this shit. And now, instead of having a real human girlfriend, they get an AI girlfriend that's going to validate them, tell them things, talk to them, have fantasies with them, but the shit ain't real. You can't marry an AI girlfriend. You can't have kids with an AI girlfriend. You can't have a life with an AI girlfriend. Shit ain't real. So that's where we're headed. What the fuck is that? Where is that taking us as a society? You're not having kids with that. Where is society going?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's going to the unknown, and we don't know. That's why we question and we fear. I liken this when I say I have questions and I'm not sure this is real anymore. You know, this is where, again, it's going into, this is just a theory. The couple of theories out there, like the Big Bang Theory, there's string theory, there's the simulation theory, right? All have been questioning, what is existence? How do we come to be? What's next for us? There's always been the question, and, you know, some philosophers and Elon Musk, you know, when you ask him, he's more on the simulation theory idea. And that's the idea, is that when we look at technology and how it's evolving, Steve Jobs said this, you can only connect the dots when looking backwards, right? And
hindsight is 20/20.
Correct. When we ask the idea of the theory, the simulation theory states that there's a higher intelligence out there in the universe or the multiverse that have experienced technologies way beyond our imagination. They've been able to travel through multiverse, create different civilizations, communicate in such a different way that we couldn't fathom. And it's out there amongst us. And then there's just sort of like replicating this world. And so we are sort of like a video game in their world. And you go, well, that's crazy. That doesn't make sense. And then when you think about it this way, if you've ever experienced virtual reality, VR, you put this goggle on and you have access to a world around you where you can look and everything seems three-dimensional and real. You're fully immersed in this world. The only difference between you understanding and knowing that you're in a separate world from yourself is pixelation. And the idea is that if we're able to get pixelation to the point where it's 1-to-1 ratio, where it's indistinguishable from reality. It's no pixels. It's like looking in the mirror. You see an exact copy. The only time you can tell there's something else if you bump the mirror or if you touch it. It's no different. And you immerse in this space, you know? And we're creating avatars. We're creating different things that exist in this world. And if we're looking at technology, and that's where it's headed, virtual reality, the Quest 3 is out. Apple Vision Pro just recently came out. People are going crazy, mad about it because it's AR, VR, transparency space where you can actually put it on. You can see the real world with low latency, and then you can interact with the virtual reality as well. So people going to the airport and all that stuff with it on. But anyway, that's where we're headed with it. So if that's where we see technology headed, then who's to say we're not a product of something that's already exists before us?
Okay, so here's the deal. For me, why are motherfuckers trying to escape reality?
And that's the question. I don't know if people are trying to escape reality per se, or it's just a byproduct. It's inevitable.
Here's what I think. I think that in people's day-to-day lives, in life, one thing you learn, right? You know, I say I'm the last boomer in the door. Well, there's some boomer shit that's real, which is life is hard. right? It has ups and downs.
Yeah.
Right? It's not how, you knock down 9 times, you get up 10, right? Those things you learn growing up, that life's not going to be a cakewalk. And you man up and you go ahead and live life. Now, you've got these escape hatches, right? This whole VR, virtual reality and all this, I don't like my life. I'm not happy in my life. I can create the life I want artificially and live there. But it's not reality. Right? It's not reality. It's not reality. It's a temporary exit from reality. But people are trying to live there. They're trying to build a life there.
I know.
In the metaverse. Right?
Because life here is so hard too.
Life is hard, man. But yeah, it's hard. But you have to freaking, look, life is hard. But it's not how it's not, life is hard, I'm over. You deal with it.
Do you think there's a difference in levels of hard for the first time, or life has always been hard this way and this just looks different in parallel? Or do you think because of artificial intelligence, life is hard a different way than we can imagine? Or maybe that hasn't happened yet. What do you think?
Life has always been hard.
Okay. Right.
And so every generation deals with the realities that life has good and bad, right? Has rain and sunshine.
Correct.
Every generation deals with it differently.
Except we've never known a generation to deal with life with an alien form, like another intelligence that's going to be smarter than us. And right now...
And you've already said it has the potential to destroy humanity.
It has the potential.
Yeah.
But even...
So how's that working out for you?
But the point is right now, we are experiencing that happening already. And I just wonder, since those things, again, my phrase is exponential, linear. We've been living linearly, now we're living in an exponential way. Are things, before we used to rely on Moore's law for technology, right? Every 6 months, technology becomes cheaper. The cost to create a silicon chip becomes cheaper, so you double that, and technology tenfolds. Things become obsolete. So Apple, they had a 6-month cycle, and when they release a new product, because there's now been a new, they've figured out how to improve their chips, have more computational power, graphics, CPU, all that stuff. 6 months, and sometimes I lose my train of thoughts. I don't even know where I was going.
I'll tell you this. In 40 years, right?
Can you remind me where I was at so I can complete my thought? No.
I'm not sure where you were going.
Okay, got it.
But I'll say this.
Can you tell me where I've been?
In 40 years, the saving grace for me is that in 40 years, I plan to still be here, but I'm not going to give a fuck what the fuck is going on in 40 years. Like, y'all, I'm going to be looking back like, y'all motherfuckers are crazy. I'm already, right now, I'm like, AI girlfriends and AI boyfriends? Seriously?
I know.
How does that shit get you off? How's that keeping you warm at night? Really? What are you doing?
I don't know, but for me,
do you understand it? You're a millennial. You're an old ass millennial now. Do you understand that?
Well, it's not. Well, first, let me just state for the record, I agree with you. Like, I am still a product of your era as well, and that is still kind of current. That is phasing out. So I also have the same train of thought. What the fuck is happening? Ain't this some shit?
Ain't this some shit?
But and then the other side of me is going, well, this shit is happening regardless, right? Man, this is evolution. This just continue. We just keep evolving, making better shit. We get bored.
Is it better? Is it better?
Well, that's the intelligence, artificial intelligence.
You said we keep making better shit. Is it better?
It has the potential to be better in such a more better way.
How can it be better? How can it be better if it's disconnecting from actual human interaction,
with artificial intelligence,
human involvement, actual touching, and being able to connect with people in a real way. How can that be better?
I'm talking about artificial intelligence, which expresses itself in multiple ways, and also it depends on how we develop, again, guardrails, how we deploy them. If we don't make it, hypothetically, how we train these systems will all depend on what happens with AI. So
that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. Because if AI is ever evolving and ever gaining intelligence, the guardrails that we human beings put in place, AI is going to be able to be evolved intellectually to be able to dispel those guardrails.
Correct.
Yeah.
If artificial intelligence becomes generative AI,
it already is.
One can argue that it's not yet.
It's called generative in AI.
No, it's called AI, and it's
called generative in AI. It's already been called that.
When people are questioning if it actually is yet or not, because so far it's still a prompt base. You have to prompt AI. You got to tell AI. You have to give a set of prompts and then to carry on those tasks. So if artificial intelligence is able to think for itself, generate its own code without any command.
Isn't that where we're going?
Without any command. We don't know yet. That's the thing. Not yet. It's not. Right now, it's not doing that. Right now, we still can say, hey, do this, carry on this task, and then it does that. We're not at generative or artificial intelligence being able to think for itself. It can create other systems, but if we prompt it to do so. So it's not all of a sudden just going to take off on its own and just start creating.
I think you're naive.
And also, there's other parts to the system that makes this whole thing a reality for potential bad or good. Again, robotics, humanoids, you right? When we get into
now Elon wants to put our consciousness into robots that can live forever, right? I might sign up for that.
Well,
I might.
Elon is creating what's called neural net, and he's like, if you can't beat him, join him. He thinks that AI is such a threat to humanity that he wants us to be able to be online so we can compete with AI. So this neural network, this neural chip that is inserted into your head, gives you instant access to the internet. So you'll be able to also compute and think and learn languages and whatever you want to download, like instantly, and compete with AI.
That's the Matrix.
So that's his. That's
the Matrix, right?
And recently, I guess so.
Neo would hook into the Matrix and then learn all the different, martial arts.
Would you do that?
Would I do it?
Would you put a chip in your head?
Not now. But when I get to 75,
if it's
80,
been tested over and over,
when I get to 80 years old, I might. I might.
Why 80 versus now? Well, not
right now, life is great. At 80, life might not be so great. Yeah. It might be. If I'm like my dad, my dad is 80 plus. He's great. If I'm like my dad, I'm good.
So right now, you would advise, like, if that was the thing right now, you'd be talking to dad, be like, hey, yo, dad, I don't need this right now, but I think this is a great idea for you to get this inserted into your head. Would you tell dad that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I doubt it. Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, does that prolong your natural life?
I would imagine it can give you the intelligence, which can lead to action. So better eating habits. Know how to take care of yourself. Workout routines that you train your body in ways.
He's already working out. He's working out.
Yeah. And that can also be coupled with, stem cells and things like that. Liquid IV is like, but like stem cells, we know that to be able to rejuvenate some muscle tissues. People have stem cells therapy, and that's how you got these people in Hollywood. Like Jennifer Lopez is probably on stem cells, right? She still looks the same, and she's like, what? How old is she? Who knows? Like, and she looks like
Jennifer
still from
Lopez
Jenny from the Block.
97 years old.
Right. She could be 107. I believe you. Because she's been living forever, yo.
And the last picture, hers, fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
What was that last picture?
Yeah, I'll show you later. Fire.
Yeah. Did you, man, get it on the train of media. I don't know. The Shannon Sharp podcast has been.
Oh, what's he had? Cat Williams on that joint?
Cat Williams on.
Oh, and Cat just
Cat let
burn Hollywood down.
He let loose. I mean, he came for
everybody,
all of the giants, all of the African American giants.
Yeah. Cat burned that shit down.
He burned it. Kevin Hart, Tyler Perry,
not Ice Cube, kind of, but not really.
Not Ice Cube.
Not really. He just, and Ice Cube came on later and said, "Hey,
yeah,
I can't really deny what he said."
Yeah, Tiffany Haddish. He talked about talked about Bernie Mac. That was the only person he championed. He championed Dave Chappelle.
It's hard, man. Dave Chappelle's a beast.
He's the GOAT. But I don't think people understood until this past interview how intelligent Cat Williams is, how he is self-made in every way. He doesn't rely on the corporate, he doesn't rely on the industry. He is pretty much a solo artist in everything he does. He makes his own show. He has his own promotion team. He doesn't rely on, he doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do. Doesn't take any movie roles or anything. And so he's able to tell the truth in ways that other people just can't because of relying on interest from others. And so he went for Steve Harvey and all those guys.
No, I mean, he went in on everybody. I mean,
yeah.
They didn't talk about the fact that there was this video of Cat getting his ass kicked by these little kids.
But even then, who do you know make it through that? When I saw that video, I was like, "That's it for Cat Williams." It was so embarrassing. I mean, Cat. He said, "Get off me, little boy. Get off me, little boy. Where's your pants at? These your mother?" And
they whooped his ass.
At one point, he was in a chokehold. He's like, "Let me go. Let me go. I'm a grown ass man." I was like, "Yo, you look like 5'1", and he survived that video." That speaks. Anyone else would have been done.
Well, I was listening to everything he said with Shannon Sharp. I was still thinking about that video.
I went back and replayed it just to make sure.
Kicked his ass. I'm like, you talking a lot of shit right now, Cat. but 4 12-year-olds kicked your motherfucking ass.
1 12-year-old. 4 was just present. It was only 1 that kicked his ass. Nah. But that's something magical about Cat, man, that he's still able to.
Yeah, no, I mean, look. I know a lot of dudes over the years talk a lot of shit. When there wasn't anybody to hold them accountable. That 12-year-old kid came in, Cat would be like,
Cat stood his ground. Cat stood his ground. He was about the same height. The 12-year-old kid was slightly taller than him. Hair fully slicked back, permed out on the playground. I'm like, why the fuck is Cat?
Why are you there?
I think he was playing soccer or football with the kids.
No, I was like, why are you there, Cat? Why are you there?
In a random ass neighborhood, just with like a bunch of 13 and 12-year-olds.
What are you doing?
What is he doing there?
Oh man. Oh, that's just funny. Look, I don't mean no harm.
Then years later, he comes on the Shannon Sharp podcast.
Yep. And goes
ham
on everybody.
And then videos surface out of how amazing this guy is to his community.
Yeah.
How he gives back to other comedians.
He does.
How all of the things he said were 90% true.
Yep.
How he's self-made.
Yep.
He's respected.
There's one person he didn't have on that. The 12-year-old kid that kicked his ass. He didn't bring that motherfucker. He didn't bring his ass on. and he's probably about 20 years old now. Like, I'll kick his ass again. But yeah, no, you're right.
I know.
Right.
That's hilarious, yo.
I mean, it's just hard to take somebody seriously.
I know, but we still did.
12-year-old.
But we still did. That's the testament of Cat Williams, man. Because I saw that video and I was like, no, ain't no way I can respect this guy. But I somehow still do.
Yeah, I do too. No, I did. I mean, hey,
it's so interesting. Normally, I would lose respect for them. I'm like, nah, fuck that. You got your ass kicked by a 12-year-old. And you're what? You're 30, 45? God damn, that looks bad. Do you know the percentage of me? I could never get. A 12-year-old could never be. There is 0% chance that a 12-year-old, no matter what the fuck, he could be on steroids. He could have AI with him.
Yeah,
is not beating me.
Hell no, not a 12-year-old.
Not a 12-year-old.
No,
There's no 12-year-old on planet Earth that can beat me.
No, I agree. Because there's some shit I know that you don't fucking know. Right? You've been from here to the end of the block. I've been around the block about 20 times.
But if he had a knife, he can kill me. That's the interesting thing about it, right? So that's like so interesting.
If he knows how to use it.
If he knows how to, or if he makes a mistake. Either way, and you be if you had a gun, whether he knows to use it or not, well, gun is taking us to another level. But that's the whole thing about, like, when we talk about just strength and power, like, anybody can kill you. A baby can kill you. Isn't that interesting?
Not really.
No, but because when I say if I would make the argument to a certain, like, to some folks and be like, yo, you can't beat me. There's nothing you can do to win. I'm just like physically stronger than you.
I've always had that mentality growing up, and fortunately, I've been, most of my life, 220 pounds or more, 6'2", never worried or intimidated by anybody I've been around, right? Even motherfuckers that are 6'6", 6'7", I trained in martial arts. I know how to take somebody that big down quickly. Mm-hmm. Haven't had that issue. I don't know what it would be like to be like Cat, 5'1", and get my ass kicked by a 12-year-old. I don't know what that. I mean, I don't know. I give a lot of credit for coming back from this shit. I mean,
a lot of credit.
Yeah, because I don't think I could. I'd be like, shit.
Knowing me, I couldn't come back from that.
Yeah, I might be curled up in a corner somewhere. Just,
Let me ask you this question, realistically, how many, and you don't have to answer the question because I know, how many would you say women are, how many women do you think could beat you in this world?
Women?
Yes.
That could
fight you and win, like physical, and beat you in a physical fight.
Now?
In the million, when you were at your peak, at your prime.
Oh, when I was in my prime?
When you were in your prime. How many women would you imagine in this world that can, you have people that are trained, the elites, FBI agents that are women, people like other places in rural areas where women are just fucking
Amazon.
They just Amazonians.
Yeah. I mean, when I was at my peak, when I was in martial arts heavy, working out 3-4 times a week, martial arts 3-4 times a week. Yeah, I thought I was invincible and immortal. Mm-hmm. Right now, that wasn't real, but I thought that. That's how that's the mentality that I had. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that there would be very many people on the planet that at that point in time that could have.
Mm-hmm. But if I told you 1 million women, 2 million, actually 10 million women will be able to beat you back then,
I would say you're lying.
You said I'm lying, right?
I wouldn't believe you.
You wouldn't believe it?
No.
Right. If I said 2,000 in the world,
I wouldn't believe you.
You wouldn't. If I said 200 women in this entire world could potentially beat you.
Maybe.
If I said 50 women for sure in this entire world would be able to beat you.
Absolutely.
So you think when you were in your prime as a 6'2", and not just your average mixed martial artist for 13 years practice.
Yep.
Always consistent at the gym, buff as shit.
Yep.
That there are only potentially 50 women on planet Earth that could possibly beat you.
That would be my mindset.
That would have been your mindset.
Yeah.
Woo! yeah. I thought I had a low number, and I got hit with the reality. My partner maybe pushed that number to like millions. I was like, I can see that. Okay. I mean, potentially. I think there's so many. I agree with you. I played 3 sports: basketball, football, ran track. I worked out all the time, drank a lot of water. I was born in Africa. I came in with the mindset that, excuse me, but these Americans are weak. They can't beat me.
I could see how you would say that.
They care about...
Although I have a counter to that.
Right. But 6th grade, came in 5th grade, 6th grade, and I would be on the playground and just looking at the way, the things that make you guys cry, the kids on the playground, things that guys got angry about, their strength when we would play like tackle or wrestle outside or football. And I kept sizing it, like, oh, these motherfuckers, y'all soft here. That was my mentality when I stepped in the U.S. I'm like, y'all all soft. And then I heard about, kids talking back to their parents at 13. I heard about hoods like in Chicago. I saw kids carrying guns. And so I was like, okay, well, it's a different kind of danger I have to worry about here. But at least, one-on-one in the physical fight, given a fair, I can stand my ground, but there's so many other things that's at play that wasn't even available for me in Liberia. So let me be careful in a different way. But I always believe that play sports, and I, even guys, I'm like, can't nobody beat me, right? Yeah. That was the mentality. And I remember thinking, well, there's probably about, I don't know, within my proximity, any woman that would come across, maybe like 4, that would ever be able to, and probably, but on a world scale, I've always been curious to know, on average, how many? And for you, you're like 50. I've agreed to 2 million.
Oh, at my peak, I was a beast at my peak.
Yeah.
I got. In fact, I got somebody I can show you. We in the podcast, I'm gonna show you. This sister is a monster.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a crusher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's coming up a lot. I think maybe just in my algorithm, but it's coming up a lot that the equality with everything has been also warped, and we are steering away from in a way that I think is just like unhealthy and also potentially dangerous. In a way that the equality we're now we're open to the reality of. I think more people, correct me if I'm wrong, more people are open to reality that women are equal to men, and they just have the divinities in a different way.
Of course they are. Why would you think that they're not?
I don't think society reflects that. I don't think men still, by and large, believe that.
No, they don't. No. Unfortunately, they don't.
No. So, yeah, that's still, so, right.
But again, it depends on what your metric is of equal, right? Because intellectually, I say women probably are more superior. They mature faster than men, right? They are nurturers. Mm-hmm. They think more deeply, typically, than men, for the most part.
Right.
But physically, genetically, I mean, they're not stronger than men because that's just a matter of, genetics and how men are, created versus women. This is different.
For sure. Yeah. But it's just coming up in, I think it's the extremism of the progress towards equality between men and women. There's a hyper extinction of like false reality. And it's that on this frontier, women are also physically stronger. Women can do anything men can do. And it's just like sometimes it's bad rhetoric. It's just not reality, and it can be potentially dangerous. And I don't know. Like I don't know why I care about this right now, but I hear it often, and I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I just care about the truth. I like for me to computate something, for me to for me to reason with someone, part of what I think you believe in is accurate matters. And I don't know if you have that mindset of like, oh, this is what the reality is, and I kind of like I lose a little bit of like, I'm like, okay, you're delusional. You know what I mean? So I guess that's why it matters to me, because I'm like, and I want you to be real, because I'm open to being wrong, and I have all these opinions, but I tend to kind of like, and if I'm wrong, like I will try to learn at least, but I'm not stuck to this like idea, and a lot of people probably might be stuck to that, and I'm like, wait, you're not thinking for yourself. You just like you just following this narrative, and that's
I can see that.
Yeah. Anyway, sometimes I go on a rant.
Hey man, you can rant away.
Yeah.
It's your platform.
We work for this.
It's your platform.
Hard work for this. I'm enjoying podcasts more and more. Trevor Noah has his own podcast. Did you see? Brandon, I'm just like probably got ADD, but what's his name? Owner of UFC, Dana White. He recently made an appearance on Joey Manziel. I believe that's his last name, Joey Manziel, the guy that also was a co-host on American Idol or America's Got Talent.
Okay.
He had his podcast, and he had Dana White sit across from him with three other, I think one of his co-hosts and another guest next to Dana White. And Dana White sitting down, he's making the introduction. He goes, Dana White, you're a stand-up guy, you're very respectable, you're an amazing entrepreneur. I mean, he's edifying Dana White to the utmost. And I'm quite frankly, I'm jealous, that, how you're able to do things that you did. It's Dana White, welcome to the podcast. Glad to have you. And Dana White just go, yeah, hey, thanks for the edification. I appreciate it. He's like, I'm just so fucking tired of podcasts, man. I don't think I'm going to do a podcast anymore. And he drops his headphones off, and he just walks off. And everybody looked puzzled. It's like, what just happened? But you got to watch the clip. It's crazy. But for me, I was just like, either Dana White was just going through his personal meltdown at that moment, or there was something to his message there about people edifying him in a way that is just to get clicks. It's just another podcast ritual. People just want to bring on guests to give them more fame. I don't know. There's something about how we're consuming content nowadays that's even pressuring us to be a little bit more exaggerated. Add a little viral element to your podcast, because real doesn't sell. And I feel that way too. And I see so many podcasts that clickbaity. And I think Dana White probably felt that too in that space. And when he was being edified, I mean, yeah, he was all those things, but he was just like, this is disgusting. And he's like, yo, I'm fucking tired of podcasts. Like, and just walks off, even though he's scheduled to be there and he was willing to talk. But something about that just triggered him because of the way we consume media nowadays.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, so the way I look at it, podcasting, content creation is the great equalizer. Because before, when it was just TV and radio, you had to have licenses to be able to put out content. And now, anybody can create a podcast, can create a YouTube channel, can create an Instagram channel, and, create content. And I think it's a great equalizer. And I think good content will rise to the top. And bullshit won't. So it's more competitive, but good shit will get to where it needs to go.
Still.
Yeah.
Even with all the noise.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's the way I like to think about it.
Yeah.
The cream rises to the top. But man, there's also haven't been so many people in the space, so many people podcasts. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, that's
everybody's a musician. Everybody's
a
photographer.
Yep.
Everybody's a podcaster.
And so on that point, that's why everybody, we need you to like, subscribe, and share the podcast.
Oh, maybe we don't because, if we're good,
No.
we don't need the shit. We don't need to say anything.
Subscribe and share the podcast. All right.
We'll need you.
No, we need you to like, subscribe, and share the podcast.
You're just a human. I'm AI, bitch.
Yeah. Well, you say I'm the human, and I need you to like and share and subscribe to the podcast.
Oh shit.
And on that note,
We're out.
we'll see y'all next time. We out.